So this is the finished axe right here. Today I'm going to be showing you how I sharpen them to be able to do this. Hey, how's it going? Hope it's going good. Tim the Blacksmith, welcome here. So I'm going to show you today, because it's been requested, how I sharpen my axes. I'm not saying I'm the best sharpener in the world, but I just want to show you what I'm doing and what I've learned from the past couple years of making axes, forging them and refurbishing them. This is a Wetterlings, and as you just saw, this thing is sharp. Not now, but it will be at the end of this video. So I'm going to take you through each step on how I approach it and what I'm using to get it sharp. Let's get right into it. So the very first thing I'm going to do with this axe is I'm actually just going to do some wire wheeling and clean it up. I'm not going to show that in this video because this is about the sharpening. We're going to keep it pretty much to that. But we're in the middle of doing an axe reverberation video where I got 8 axes that are coming through. These will be coming available in that video, which is coming maybe in a week or two. This is a Walter. This is a Plum. Look how clean that line is. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, so if you're interested in seeing these be refurbished and these other axes, make sure you keep an eye out for that video. So anyways, I'm just going to clean this up and then we're going to sharpen it. This axe is now ready to start into the sharpening process. So the first thing I'm going to do, I look at the edge to determine what I think about the profile line. And then I also look at if there's any sort of bevel on a refurbished axe like this. I'll be going a little bit with what's there already. So I've assessed it, so now we're going to go to the grinder and we'll start cleaning this line up. And at this point now, you do have to keep this cool. I have found that a belt sander is the best way to get a good sharp axe. This is a 3x90. I start here on the back because it's faster than a slack belt to get my bevel established. Then once I've got it pretty good, this is my little sweet spot right here. See this where the backing stops? You got about 2.5 inches of a gap. That slack belt I have found is just really, really perfect. Okay, so that's profiled there. We got a lot of meat on the front because we took a lot out. I would say that's a heavy 1/8 of an inch. Not worried about that at all. So now we're going to start into putting the bevel on it. I use 4 to 5 belts for the entire sharpening process. So I start at a 36, then I move to 120, then I go to a 220, and then I go to a 400, and then a 600. Sometimes a 600. It is really not needed, but it is an extra nice little touch. Really what I've just been trying to do is get my bevel, and then what I'm also checking is how, I'm going to call it the land. It's kind of a welding term. That's not a good term. That's the top here where it's flat up in here. Trying to make sure that that's relatively consistent throughout the thing. If that's looking really good, then we can just keep coaching on those angles and just start bringing it down. But things are looking relatively good. So I'll go a little bit more, and then I'll go to a slack belt, and then I'll show you that, and then we'll go to the 80 grit. Okay, we're gonna come into our slack belt now. So that's the slack belt now on the 36 grit. I wanted to show you a couple things. Still some material here that I haven't taken out yet. I'm saving that for the 80 grit. You could maybe go a little more. And then I don't know if you can see this on this side. I didn't even get the slack belt all the way down to the front edge. There's 2 angles in here. I'm not worried about that because the 36 grit is such a stiff belt. It doesn't slack belt well. The 80 grit is really where you want to do your work to sort of establish that angle and everything. And then after that, you can lean on it almost as hard as you want. You're just polishing. You're not like removing excessive material. What's going to happen now, there's a couple things that are really important to get this sharp. What I'm looking for is when we get going, I'm going to look at the light, how it reflects off this edge. I want the same bevel angle all the way across. Even if it was indifferent than this side, the bevel cannot be like here and then like that. And that's where the slack belt is the saving grace, because it's actually relatively easy to get a consistent angle coming in. And then the second thing, it's all about looking at the burr. If there's not a burr, then it's not going to be sharp. So that is the 80 grit. I'm not even looking for a burr at this point. There is no burr. I'm just making sure that the land is disappearing. And then it's about the 220 to the 400 grit is when you're gonna start seeing that burr noticeable. And with the 120, moving on to the 240. Is that the 220 grit? And I've arrived to my burr. Perfect, right there, money shot. See how it's even all the way across the whole surface? If I flip it over here, you won't see that. The burr is pushed to the other side, right? This was the side I was grinding on last. You gotta see it evenly across everything to get it sharp. That's it, that's the magic token. Now we go to the 400 grit, 600 grit. We'll buff it off and we got a sharp axe. So at this point here, like that's not sharp, right? We won't be doing that in a couple minutes. The axe is sharpened, but the burr is there, and so because of that, it's not sharp. So now I'm gonna go to the buffer, and that's gonna pop this thing like crazy. You can feel it a little bit on this side. There's a little bit of a burr, so this is a piece of leather. This is the raw side. And then I just gently kind of finesse that a little bit just to clean up that burr. And then at that point we're done. This is now sharp, and at this point in the game, we do not want to get our hand anywhere near that cutting edge. Oh yeah. Okay, so that's that axe. All finished, ready for the handle. Guess we should try this thing out though. So check it out. Sometimes if it's really sharp, you can kind of cut through like this. Anyways, you get the idea. We could do this all day. It's sharp. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until then, keep the forge lit, hey? Over and out.